All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take that stack of sources you've given us, maybe articles, research, notes you've gathered, and we really get into them, pulling out the core insights. Think of it as, well, your shortcut to understanding a topic that's on your mind.
Today, we're definitely wading into the crypto world. It's fast-moving, sometimes pretty confusing, but we're looking specifically through the lens of the sources you sent over. We're digging into claims around a token, sometimes called XAI, maybe XAI 15H. Also, this idea of a potential altcoin season and, how AI tools fit into trading all this stuff.
Exactly. And our mission, really, is to be your guides through this specific information. We're going to navigate the excitement, the really bold claims you find in these sources, help you understand what they are actually saying, and pull out the key points they emphasize. And that includes, importantly, their own disclaimers. Just to be clear, we're reporting on the content you shared, not endorsing any viewpoints in there. Right. And the sources for today, they're mostly transcripts, it looks like.
Okay.
From YouTube videos about crypto, trading, lots of energy in the language, very specific claims, high conviction stuff.
Definitely. Which makes it absolutely essential. We start with this right up front. Disclaimer. I am not a licensed financial advisor. The information provided here is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered investment advice. Please consult a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Thank you. That's the vital context for everything else we talk about today. We're simply unpacking what these sources claim, what they suggest, guiding you through this particular set of information you wanted us to look at. So, okay, let's unpack it. So jumping right in, the main thing that keeps popping up in these sources is this token, XAI, or sometimes XAI 15H. Where do these sources claim it actually comes from?
Well, based on these sources, they're very consistent about attributing it to something called XAI Corp. And they make a really clear, direct link to Elon Musk. You see phrases like it's spearheaded by none other than Elon Musk, or that he's, building his own AI-powered crypto project. That's the claim in the sources.
Okay. And do they also try to connect this token to his actual broader AI company, the one
Yeah.
really named XAI?
Oh, absolutely. They definitely connect the token talk to his established AI company.
Yeah.
The sources bring up reports about that company, mentioning talks for funding that could value it at $40 billion, or citing past rounds like $6 billion raised at a $24 billion valuation. They even mentioned the company building a huge data center, training the Grok AI model. What's really noticeable is how some sources seem to, well, either connect or maybe even conflate the AI company's reputation and activities with this specific crypto token they're promoting.
Got it. So leveraging that Musk association, that AI venture connection for the token itself. Now, what about the token's features? What specific things do these sources say this XAI token has? Sounds like they use a lot of buzzwords.
They really do, yeah. The features they highlight again and again include things like quantum AI, a quantum AI consensus mechanism, AI-powered market prediction tools, AI-optimized tokenomics, and even quantum-resistant cryptography.
Wow. Quantum AI consensus mechanism. That sounds incredibly technical. Do the sources explain how that stuff works, or is it more about what they claim it does for you, the user?
That's a really sharp observation based on this material. And while they list these fancy-sounding features, the real emphasis in these sources is overwhelmingly on the claimed benefits. So, for instance, they'll claim the AI market prediction tools, supposedly using quantum AI, offer unmatched accuracy for forecasting crypto trends. They say this helps users make informed investment decisions, avoid big price swings, and the quantum part, well, that's claimed to boost scalability and security. So yeah, it's much more about the promised result for the user than, say, a deep technical explanation of how it works, at least in these sources we looked at.
And one source even tries to define AI coin for their audience.
That's right, yeah. One source defines it as a crypto that uses AI to enhance its function, utility, or performance. And again, they specifically point to market prediction as a key advantage defining this category. It shows how they're framing it.
Right. So connecting it back for you, the listener, the pitch you're getting from these sources is that these advanced sounding features are supposed to give you a real edge in the crypto market. Okay, so I've got the claimed features. But how are people actually supposed to get this token, according to the sources? This pre-sale seems like a huge focus, doesn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely central, yeah. In several of these sources, that's the main event. They keep stressing that this pre-sale is a limited time thing. What's interesting, though, is the timing they give isn't perfectly consistent. One source says only 5 days left, but another claims just over 1 week left.
Hmm.
But regardless of the exact days, it's definitely positioned as, a hurry up, get in early kind of opportunity.
And what about incentives? Are they claiming bonuses or anything to get people to jump in fast?
Yeah, the claimed bonuses are pretty eye-catching. The sources mention things like bonuses of up to 200% for token swaps, or getting 200% of the token value on your first XAI purchase.
Hmm.
One source even simplifies it down to basically a buy one, get three deal.
And they push the urgency factor too, right? And mentioning participation numbers and things like that.
Exactly. They claim the supply is running low. They urge people to hurry and join before XAI sells out.
Uh-huh.
And to kind of build that social proof, maybe, they cite specific numbers like over 40,000 participants or even over 55,000 buyers already in. One source flat out says this generated immense excitement and got a remarkable number of participants in record time. These numbers, the low supply claims, they're clearly used to the sources to create that FOMO, that fear of missing out feeling, and push for quick action.
Do they cover the practical side, like how you actually buy in?
Uh-huh. Yeah, sources mention practical things like multiple payment options, a user-friendly website that they praise for fast processing, suggesting it's, easy to participate.
And I think you mentioned there were even personal stories mixed in.
Right, yeah. We see claims like one source mentioning they put in $50,000 personally into XAI. What's really interesting about that, though, is that claim is often immediately followed by, this isn't financial advice.
Huh. Okay, so moving beyond just the XAI token, the sources also seem to talk about the broader market, maybe tools for trading, like one guide focused on AI indicators on TradingView.
Yes, exactly. One source goes into detail about using supposedly TradingView smart AI indicators.
Mm.
According to this source, TradingView partnered with OpenAI to integrate smart AI into their charts. They claim you access it in developer mode by running some special script in your computer's command line.
A special script. Okay. And what does this source claim this AI indicator actually does? What info does it supposedly give you?
Well, this source claims these AI tools can accurately predict market movements, which is a huge claim, obviously. They say it analyzes things like whale wallet activity and smart money flows.
Yeah.
Based on how the source describes it, this seems to mean tracking big crypto movements, supposedly showing what major investors are doing. The source claims this helps you assess the risk versus reward, properly diversify, see what big investors have been accumulating, and even spot coins that aren't worth buying so you don't become exit liquidity, basically avoiding being the person buying when big holders are selling.
Right. And they use a specific coin as an example, SUI, I think.
They did, yeah. The source talks about researching the SUI token with this AI indicator, and it mentions specific probability predictions shown on the chart, according to that source, like a 100% probability indicating a rise to $12.
100% probability.
Yep, and also a 33% probability of an increase to the $25 zone. Presenting a prediction with 100% certainty is definitely a very strong claim within that source.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Several sources seem to frame all this opportunity within that classic crypto narrative of altcoin season.
Mm-hmm. That's a recurring theme, used to kind of set the stage for why now is the time. Some sources claim recent news, like Donald Trump announcing a crypto strategic reserve, including certain coins, basically confirmed altcoin season is starting right now. That's their interpretation. Other sources link it more to market dynamics like increased global liquidity or maybe a wealth effect where people take profits from Bitcoin or Ethereum and rotate into smaller altcoins.
And they tie the XAI token directly into that alt season story.
Precisely, yeah. The sources position XAI right in the middle of that narrative. They present it as a project that could potentially lead the next explosive leg up during this expected altcoin boom. One source also mentions watching other specific altcoins too, like something called Movement Protocol, just as another example they're tracking.
Okay, so we've heard a ton from these sources. Exciting claims about XAI, the AI features, this big pre-sale with bonuses, guides on AI trading tools, all set against this backdrop of a potential altcoin season. But what else is in there? What kind of warnings or, context do these same sources provide alongside all the hype?
This is really crucial, and it's a pattern you definitely see in the material you provided. The sources themselves often include very explicit disclaimers and warnings, sometimes right next to the biggest claims. For example, one source warns point blank, when buying tokens, if you aren't comfortable with the idea that you could lose all of your money, do not invest more than you can afford to lose. Pretty direct. Another one clearly states, none of this is investment advice and you should always do your own research.
Yeah.
And remember that source claiming the $50 personal investment.
Yeah.
Right after that claim, this isn't financial advice.
Wow. It's striking, isn't it, that these warnings aren't coming from outside critics. They're embedded right in the content making the exciting claims. It's part of the whole picture they're painting.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And then there's one source that talks about AI in a totally different way, separate from the token stuff. It discusses Elon Musk's actual AI company, XAI, competing with Google, Anthropic, the big players. And it explores this idea that AI models themselves might just become, well, commoditized over time. The source compares it to transistors, like a fundamental tech that ended up everywhere, but we don't market devices primarily as transistor devices anymore.
Huh. That's a really different angle. A longer-term view, maybe, on AI tech itself, separate from the immediate claims about the specific token using AI right now.
Exactly. It kind of introduces the idea that even if the core tech is powerful, its widespread use might eventually shift where the value lies,
Yeah.
maybe away from the AI model itself being the main selling point.
So, okay, what does this all add up to, based purely on the sources you shared? We've got sources making these high conviction claims, detailing tech features for a token, pushing urgency around a pre-sale, offering guides for AI trading tools, framing it all in an altcoin season narrative, and then, woven through all of that, these explicit warnings from the same sources. Be careful, this isn't financial advice. Do your own research. Plus that broader thought about AI maybe becoming a commodity eventually, it's quite a mix.
Yeah, summarizing the main threads we pulled. There are the claims about the XAI token's AI features, really focused on promised results like market prediction. The narrative around its urgent pre-sale with big bonuses, we saw that guide on using AI trading indicators as presented by one source anyway, the market context of altcoin season, and what sources say drives it, like liquidity. And crucially, that pattern of explicit warnings and disclaimers within the sources making the hype. Plus, that different perspective from one source on AI maybe becoming commoditized down the line.
And echoing what the sources themselves say in those disclaimers, your own role in evaluating all this is obviously key. They keep saying it. Do your own research.
Absolutely. And just one more time for clarity. This information is purely for general informational purposes. It is not financial advice. Please consult a qualified professional before you make any financial decisions.
So given this really interesting mix we found in these sources, the strong claims, the real sense of urgency, but also those very clear disclaimers all bundled together, here's something to think about, maybe explore on your own. How do you approach evaluating potential opportunities in markets like this? Markets that move fast are technically complex, especially when the information itself presents both exciting possibilities and direct warnings side by side. What really stands out to you about how these sources package and present this information